You probably didn't click on this video because you're shopping for a $1,200 flagship. And if you did, this video ain't for you. You clicked on this because you're looking for a smart deal, something that gives you the best value for your money. And budget phones absolutely offer that. Walk into a store and see a device under $200, or you hear the salesperson say, it's free when you add a line. You're looking at the phone, it has a modern design, it's big screen, and it has multiple cameras. On the surface, this feels like an easy decision. But once you look past this price tag, it's the less obvious details that are going to determine how that phone performs within a year or 2 years. If you can get that much out of it, by the end of this video, you'll know whether a budget phone actually makes sense for you, or if you might be just setting yourself up for frustration later. That's what we're focusing on today. In the US market, entry-level phones in this price range are built to hit a price point, and it comes with trade-offs. And those trade-offs matter over time. So what's less obvious about this? In this category, it usually comes down to two things. Surprisingly, back in the day, it was battery, but batteries are getting really well. The two things are memory and RAM. When I say memory, I'm talking about RAM. That's the phone's short-term working memory. The space where it uses to keep apps open and run smoothly. Storage is different. That's like the number on the box, 64 gigabytes. That's the space where your apps live, your photos, your games, etc. That's where everything actually lives on the phone. And at this price range, 4 gigabytes of RAM is still very common, and lower storage options are still widely available. There are exceptions, but in the free or under $200 category, phones are designed to keep costs down, and that means there isn't extra room built in. And that sounds fine until you start using it. The system takes space. Apps take space. Updates take space. And if you're thinking about gaming, some games can take up to 20 to 30 gigabytes of storage. That's even before they update. So if you have a phone that only has 64 gigabytes of storage, that's a chunk of space that just disappeared on your phone. Now, think about this, taking a few hundred photos, recording some videos. Suddenly you're getting a pop-up that says the storage is almost full. Or if you're upgrading, you're not really upgrading because now you got to delete things to get that upgrade. You're deleting apps, you're deleting photos, pictures. And what are those? Your memories. And that's the part people don't always think about. On the memory side, when there isn't much headroom, that's when you're gonna start seeing freezes and noticeable lag, especially when switching between apps or multitasking. Multitasking is tough on a budget phone. Memory affects smoothness. Storage affects what you can keep. And both shape your long-term experiences. Now let's look at real examples. Let's look at the Samsung Galaxy A17 5G. 4 gigabytes of RAM, 120 gigabytes of storage. Also, OLED AMOLED display. This display is in flagship devices. You're getting a solid phone. You're getting more storage than any budget phone that I know of right now. Display and storage is what this phone wins. And it's a strong price. But the problem is with that display storage, when you only have 4 gigabytes of memory, over time, this is going to start showing some lag. Let's compare something like the Moto G Play 2026. Sleek design, it's got like fake leather. It does have an LCD display. The display is really good though. Surprisingly, this display is 120 hertz compared to the 190 hertz. Better quality screen, slower refresh rate, faster refresh rate, and less expensive screen. This also has 4 gigabytes of RAM, but the storage only has 64 gigabytes of storage. This one might feel fine right now for light use, but you're working with less storage, headroom, and historically, Samsung usually updates their phones longer, and they get the security patches and updates out faster than Motorola. So you start asking a different question. I'm thinking, how is this thing gonna feel in a year or two? And that's where memory and storage become kryptonite in this category. Not immediately, but over time. So here's the honest reality. Both of these phones are a strong deal, especially if you get it maybe adding a line for free, even under $200. They're usable devices. They cover the basics. They look modern. They work. But you're investing in a price point. And that usually means you're investing in something you're likely going to replace sooner. In this tier, it's realistic that you might upgrade in a year or two. That's not failure. That's just how this category is built. If you pay more upfront for flagships, you're buying more headroom, more memory, more storage, longer software support. This isn't about which one's better. It's about understanding what you're investing in. Short-term savings versus long-term headroom. If you understand the trade-offs going in, you won't be frustrated later. Clarity beats regret. And just knowing what you're buying before you buy it. So let me ask you this. How long do you realistically expect your next phone to last? 2 years? 3 years? 5? Drop that in the comments down below. And if this kind of thinking helped you make a smarter tech decision, considering subscribing. That's what this channel is about. Share it out to your friends. Share it out to someone who's about to grab a free phone and might not know what that really means.